It has been 40 years since the revolution that changed the face of this nation. Iran's pro-US policy was reversed. Little has changed since. Opposition to the US and Israel are still very much part of Iran's foreign policy.
We shouldn't have relationship with the US and Israel. We have a problem with these two countries. We are independent, and that's why they are putting pressure on us.
Relations between Washington and Tehran are at an all-time low since President Donald Trump took office and reimposed sanctions after withdrawing from the 2015 nuclear deal signed by world powers. Western sanctions have been a fact of life for decades, ever since the storming of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran in 1979 and the ensuing hostage crisis. But Iranians are hurting.
We need relations with other countries so that people are not unemployed. When Rouhani came to power, he visited many countries. If some allowed him to continue, everything would be better.
The Iranian leadership did back President Hassan Rouhani's engagement with the West that led to the nuclear deal. It was supposed to usher in a new era in relations until the U.S. withdrew.
For years, all I told our officials in close meetings and people publicly, we shouldn't trust American officials' promises, smiles and signatures. Now about the Europeans, I'm not saying we should not have relations with them, but we shouldn't trust them.
He has been open to resolving difficulties that Iran has had with the United States for many years now. That's why you got the nuclear agreement. That's why towards the end of the nuclear agreement, he had a speech talking about resolving other issues if this first step worked out. The problem is that the first step did not work out.
There seems to be little optimism about the future, especially because of what Iran's supreme leader considers a hostile U.S. administration and its hostile policies towards this country. The revolution is about ending Western influence in Iran. Its authors then wanted to export its ideals to the world. By doing that, Iran earned enemies. It is being accused of meddling in the internal affairs of neighboring states. And the United States accuses Iran of being the greatest threat in the Middle East. Iran is involved in wars across the region where it backs mainly Shia proxies. Tehran says it is about countering U.S. and Israeli dominance. Some Arab governments see it differently. Iran's regional ambitions transform the Middle East. In fact, some Iranian officials don't shy away from boasting about Arab capitals now being part of the Islamic revolution. Zeina, Khodr, Al Jazeera, Tehran.